All right, so one of the most useful things that you can do in Illustrator, a lot of people ask me to be able to make a t-shirt. I've got this picture off the internet that I want to be able to use, and so we'll have a discussion about copyright infringement and how even though you should not just steal things from other people. But we're going to show you how to do this using something that is my intellectual property, so I'm not stealing from other people to do this. So this is a technique called image trace, all right? So when you have an image in Illustrator, that image, this is something I got off the internet. I just copied this. This is a JPEG. I can tell this is a JPEG because when I click on it, I can't mess with the individual pieces. Also, it has this white box in the background. Very common question is, how do I get rid of this white box that goes all the way around my design? Well, here's how you do it, okay? So I've got this design here. Everything is good. If you do not have these options up at the top, you may need to go back and watch our video about how to set up your document, okay? So you gotta make sure that you are set up in a way that has these options up at the top, okay? So I'm going to, also it may not be up there because I don't have my object selected. So first thing I do is I select my picture. I know it's selected because I got that blue box around it. I'm gonna go up here to the top and there's a button that says Image Trace. If I just click Image Trace, it will give me a black and white version of my design. For this, that works. Depends on your design and depends on what you're working with as to whether or not that is the result that you want. You can go change over here to the left, right here, and change it to, instead of default, you can change it to one of these other ones to do 3 color. And then while that's processing, it helps if you talk about filling all the dead air while this thing is processing. So I also could have gone back and done Control Z. There we go. So that works, right? So I'm going to do Control Z to go back. Let's see. Control Z to go back. So right now, if you didn't want to do it that way, I showed you one way, I'll show you another. Okay, so this is, I'm dealing with my original image here. If I go up, instead of hitting Image Trace, if I click the little arrow that's next to it, I will see different tracing presets. For the purposes of this, I'm going to use 3 color, but you can try these different ones and see what you get, see what works for you. And so this is going to take a second. What it's doing is it's looking at all the pixels. Right now, this is not in vector form. It's looking at all the pixels and going, this is not connected to this, so this must be something different. So this looks good. You don't think that this has any real difference? Why? Well, it's exactly the same as it was. Well, it has now been image traced, and I can go, the next thing you have to do is you have to hit expand. When you hit expand, it makes it now in a format that I can mess with all these individual pieces. So if I go in and I can double click to go into the group, and I can mess with the individual pieces and delete things, and I can select things and change the color of it. Okay, well that looks really bad, but you get what I'm saying, okay? So I would not be able to do any of that before it was in vector form. Vector form also makes it where you can scale it and makes it where a vinyl cutter can now see it. So if I go into outline mode, if I go to view outline, which shortcut is Control Y, I will now see a vinyl cutter would be able to cut all of those things. It sees those lines, and the vinyl cutter would be able to trace all of those pieces out. Okay, whereas before what we had, let me go back. I should have shown you this image before. We did image trace, but before what we had was we had an image that did not have any lines. If we tried to cut it in the vinyl cutter, it would have just been a solid, yep. So this is the JPEG that we started with, all right? And so if I go into outline mode, which was Control Y, you will see there is nothing there. If I try to cut this in the vinyl cutter, it doesn't see anything. It just sees a box, and that's it, okay? But if we do image trace, and then expand, now it sees all of those lines. So that's what you need to do. And now you have these pieces, and I'll do another video about how to do things when they're grouped and how to go into a group and get out of the group and all that. But that's all I got for right now. Thanks.